Waiver Wire, Week 6. We have 2 tight ends, 3 running backs, 6 wide receivers, and 3 quarterbacks for your consideration for Week 6 best Waiver Wire additions. Today we have 13 players to break down before waiver claims process on Wednesday for Week 6 of the 2024 NFL season. Notable injuries from Nico Collins, Devon Achane, Aaron Jones, Ramondre Stevenson, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Xavier Legette, and buys for the Chiefs, Rams, Dolphins, and Vikings. We'll go position by position, from the most viable to pure desperation, from tight ends, running backs, wide receivers, to quarterbacks. Don't skip, unless you're a hopeless, uncultured swine. We begin with tight ends. Theo Johnson, 5% rostered, 5 for 5 for 48 receiving yards, 9.6 yards per target. In the tight end landscape, you could do a lot worse. Daniel Bellinger and Manhurts are used for blocking, which gives the rookie a real chance to become a featured player. They get the Bengals next week. Jones should be throwing all over the field to keep up with Joe Burrow. Charlie Kolar, 0% rostered. Is he Mark Andrews' replacement? I don't know. But I don't see how they ignore his 64 yards. He only got 4 opportunities at 27% snaps. Likely he's the clear featured tight end here, but you could probably do a lot worse than Mark Andrews Jr. We want to see his opportunities increase before we slot him in, but he's worth a stash at the least. That's your top tight end waivers. Let's look at running backs. Think Bigsby at 31% rostered. We already tried to tell you last week to grab him. This is the last chance to grab the hound cuff, much like Bucky Ervin, who have serious chances of experience of flipping. He had 13 attempts and a reception for 101 yards. Jaguars have looked rough this season. They need all the explosive infusions they can get. Thomas Jr. and Bigsby provide that. Tyron Tracy, 34% rostered. Best case scenario, Singletary sits out again, and Tracy gets another chance to repeat. Worst case scenario, it's a split backfield with Singletary, and they both become useless. The rookie was efficient, though, with 18 attempts for 129 yards, 7.2 yards per carry. Bravo. And Jalen Wright, 21% rostered. This sucks with Miami on bye this week, but if you're desperate, you won't complain. 13 attempts for 86 yards and a 6.6 yards per carry. We don't know how long Achane is going to be sidelined, but their injury-prone backfield could lead to Jalen Wright and Achane being the tandem instead of 32-year-old Mostert. These 3 are your best options for running back. Wide receivers next. Jalen Tolbert, 17% rostered. Brandon Cooks is on IR with a knee infection. He's going to be relevant on the pass-first offense for 3 to 4 more weeks. You could do a lot worse than a starter with 10 targets and 87 yards and a touchdown. Michael Wilson, 24% rostered. 9 targets, 7 targets, and 6 targets in his last 3 games. 78 yards in his last game. He's had 3 out of 5 games with 15, 12, and 15 yards per carry. He's a featured player in a high-powered offense alongside MHJ. He shouldn't be on anyone's waiver wire. Pick him up. Jalen Coker, 0% rostered. The rookie only got a chance because of Xavier Legette's unfortunate injury. But with that chance, he went 4 for 4 and 68 yards for 17 yards per target. We don't know how long Thielen and Legette will be out, but someone has to play alongside Johnson, and Coker showed he can be efficient and productive. Darius Slayton, 8% rostered. No Malik Neighbors, and Slayton gets 11 targets for 122 yards. Is he going to keep that volume next week with Neighbors back? Of course not. But he's obviously the next most talented offensive weapon they have, and I'd be shocked for Daboll and Jones to not feature him more. Jordan Whittington, 35% rostered. 8 targets for 62 yards and 10 targets for 89 yards in 2 games back-to-back. He's a rookie that could earn a serious role on a Stafford-led team desperately looking for explosive players not named Kyron Williams. He's going to be on bye, so this clogs up a spot on your roster, but depending on your league, he may be worth a stash. And Alec Pierce, 19% rostered. Look, if Flacco continues to play, Pierce, Downs, everybody is excellent, viable. I was hesitant on the first few bombs in the first few games, but he had another, nearly a 4th as well this past week. If you need a fill-in, you could do worse than a guy with 3 touchdowns in 5 games and over 40 yards per carry in 3 of 5 games. One position left, 3 players. Let's do quarterbacks. Daniel Jones, 16% rostered, 236 yards, 281 yards, and 257 yards in his last 3 contexts. Not bad for Danny Dimes. 20 to 30 rushing yards per game to boot. Dayball's a great coach. You could do worse. Bo Nix, 19% rostered. Look, he's only had 3 games with over 200 passing. He was rushing for 35 yards per game too, but we haven't seen that in the past 2 games. Faced the Chargers week 6 though, and Nix should be able to win that one. You need a fill-in. I know it feels kind of gross, but you could do worse. And we got to mention Joe Flacco again, 13% rostered. I don't like to recommend players I've already discussed, but we don't know Richardson's status for week 6. It is worth mentioning that Steichen said that when AR-15 is healthy, he will resume his role as the starting quarterback. So it's hard to say if we get him again for another week, but I know fantasy managers have certainly hoped so. These 13 players are the most viable options based off week 5 production, availability, and outlook. If you had an injury or want depth, target one of these guys on your waiver wire and let me know in the comments who you're putting in for and why. If this was useful, like the video and subscribe, turn on post notifications to stay prepared for Sunday. That's the video. Watch some more videos.